Yeah, my name is Steve Eddington. I'm the minister at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashua, New Hampshire. Nashua is about 10-15 miles north of Lowell, which is Jack Kerouac's hometown. For about the past 15 years, I've been involved in putting on the annual Jack Kerouac Festival there. Occasionally, I teach a course at the University of Massachusetts at Lowell on the literature of the Beat movement. This is a poem I wrote in January of 2007. It's just called Bixby. If you've read Jack Kerouac's Big Sur, you know that that is where he went in the summer of 1960 to try to calm himself down after the fame that he had garnered from the publication of On the Road. If you've read the book, you know it didn't quite work out that way. The poem is called Bixby. I do it the easy way, drive down the road in broad daylight. No groping through midnight darkness with brakeman's lantern and backpack. Unlike Jack, I have no key to the gate, so jump the fence, a trespasser. Most houses and cabins empty, awaiting their summer renters on this January day. Two locals ignore me as I pass Lawrence's cabin. Tire track road becomes a path in the woods after the last house. Feeling safer, not trespassing anymore, just me and the trees and the creek who don't care that I'm here. Cross and recross the creek on little footbridges, green canyon walls high on either side now. Son of a bitch, that rusted out car is still there, halfway up the canyon wall, just before the bridge. Under the bridge, huge, overwhelming, majestic, and strangely eerie. Can't name it, but get a whiff of what scared Jack. Path ends at the beach. The creek cuts through the sand to the ocean. A huge rock juts out of the sand right where the waves break. Ledges in the rock. Maybe one of them Jack's seat for writing his sea poem. Shoes and socks off, trousers rolled up. Not that cold for a California January. Wade the creek, mount the rock. Sit. Breathe in. Breathe out. Listen. Listen for the sheshon, just like Jack heard it. Try to strike up a conversation. God damn, Jack, how could you lose it in a place like this? Yeah, spooky bridge all right, and ghosts up there by the rusted car. But what was it? More beauty here than you could take at that point in your life? Is that why your ride out here really was on your last train to the coast? You came here to cleanse your soul, and all you saw were demons in the water and woods and sand. And they chased you right past your beloved Buddha, clear back to the cross you first saw in Lowell. Okay, I'll get off this rock and leave you alone, since that's all you ever wanted of anyone anyway. Take care, Jack. God bless. Several years ago, I wrote a book called The Beat Face of God. Subtitle is called The Beat Generation Writers as Spirit Guides. I tried to pull two strands of my life together in that of a liberal religious minister and that of a Beat Kerouac aficionado. We're going to read a few paragraphs from the last chapter of the book called Jack Kerouac in the Face of God. Shortly after On the Road was published, Jack was on a radio program in New York and was asked what it was he wanted. His reply was, "I want God to show me his face." So I took that and did a little play on it, ending up with an experience I had near Kerouac's gravesite, which isn't too far from my home. In the faces of my questioners was the hopeless question, but why? So wrote Jack Kerouac in the wild aftermath of the publication of On the Road, when, as he put it, everything exploded. But the question is never to be fully answered, just as the face of God is never to be fully revealed. The important thing, however, is that Jack Kerouac made the effort. And the even more important thing, as I'm sure he'd tell us himself if he could, is that we make the effort for ourselves as well. I turn to Kerouac when I need some encouragement in making the effort myself. Whether it's a visit to his grave, which is about a half-hour's drive from my home, or simply reflecting upon his joyful and tragic, ebullient and troubled, divine and demonic life. I need to say thank you to him now and again. I thank him for pointing out a precious kind of beauty in the tired and forlorn face of a diner waitress. I thank him for seeing a strange kind of saintliness in the often wild and crazy ways of his companion of the road, Neil Cassidy. I thank him for allowing me to see a land I can still love, even with what all of its politicians have done to it, through the window of a Greyhound bus. I thank him for noting the spurting froth on the rocks of the Merrimack River as it flowed through his hometown of Lowell, even as it also flows alongside of mine. I thank him for having the courage to recount his own dark nights of the soul on Washington State's Desolation Peak and at California's Big Sur. For in each of these revelations, Kerouac offers at least a fleeting glimpse of that elusive face of God and a passing intimation of the divine that resides in the ordinary and even at times in the destructive. Jack Kerouac died a lonely death, and one that gave the appearance of a defeated man. But his life and literary legacy have proven to be far more lasting in the years following his death than in those preceding it. While he died in isolation, his spirit now touches the lives of countless individuals, many of whom make the trip to Lowell to pay their respects and offer their thanks to Jack Kerouac. My most lasting memory of a trip to his grave came on one of my March 12th birthday treks, following an especially severe New England winter. March 12th is Jack's birthday. The snow was so deep and wet that I did not want to make the walk from the roadway that passes near his grave to the marker itself. I stood in the roadway and offered a silent prayer in the direction of Kerouac's grave. About 5 or 6 young people, probably in their teens and 20s, approached. None of them were wearing boots. Without breaking stride, they walked through the knee-deep snow and formed a circle around the marker. From their pockets, each of them took out a poem she or he had written and read it as they stood in their circle. Then they tromped back through the snow and continued on their way. God, Jack, if only you could have seen it. Maybe you did. This is about his French-Canadian ancestry and how it affected his writings and his novels.